We play and call it work.
Hey everybody, Matthew and Kris here from MiniWargaming.com, and welcome to another episode of Sit and Talk. It's kind of like Way of the Brush, but on
not
Friday instead of Saturday.
Yeah,
exactly the same, right?
It's a double dose this week for everybody out there.
We apologize in advance.
Yeah.
Of course, my guest this week is Kris. As if you watched last week, you knew and already left questions for. Hopefully, I got a lot of pages of questions for you here today.
Cool.
And before we get into that, though, next week's guest will be Dave. So we've done Leland, Cork, and Steve, and now you, and then Dave. So then we'll see if we do anybody else, if they actually want to be in the Sit and Talks. But for now, when you leave your comments and questions below, leave them specifically to Dave. And make sure you start it off by saying, hey, Dave, or whatever you want to, just to show, to prove that you're actually talking to him and not to me, or responding to something from last week. And as always, a little disclaimer, this show is just about answering questions, so you might get personal views from either of us. Kris will probably offend you at some point in this video, so if you're easily offended, then please go watch another show. And the first 45 minutes are, I know, right? The first 45 minutes are free, and then we do another 30-minute bonus show for our Vault members, which will be at the link at the video description below. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
First question is from Justin, who hides behind the Mini Wargaming username. Kris, what brand and color of paint tastes the best?
Old school GW purple.
Is that the one that tastes the best?
Yeah. It used to be, crap, I can't remember what it is now. G-Sealer purple.
Leviathan? Oh,
Yeah, let's go.
Leviathan purple?
Sure, let's go with Leviathan purple. It tastes like purple.
What does purple taste like?
Like grapes?
Why do I have a feeling you're just making this up?
I'm making it up. I don't eat the paint.
Well, no, you lick your brushes, don't you?
Yeah, but not with paint on them. I know there's painters out there who will thin the paint with their saliva as they're painting, and that's like really, yeah, that's
It's
not
technically non-toxic.
technically, but you accumulate so many hours painting, especially if you're a commission painter. And I know there's painters out there who paint all day long and they lick their brush with the paint on it, and they're painting, and I mean that accumulates over time, and yeah.
Yeah, non-toxic doesn't necessarily mean good for you.
No,
It just
no.
means not poisonous immediately.
Yeah, immediately.
Like a rock is technically non-toxic. I wouldn't start eating it.
Yeah,
I'd say
exactly.
that's okay for me, right? Well, maybe
Exactly.
some rocks are not non-toxic, but I'm not quite sure. Peter Gooding. Kris, could we possibly see you in some battle reports sometime?
You possibly could.
Possibly.
Well, I mean, like in the last year, I did the Apocalypse game. I participated in that one.
That's right.
And
Get
then,
off his back.
Yeah, and then what was it? Halloween before that.
When we did the zombie one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a lot of fun too.
Yeah. If you're wondering why Kris isn't in a lot of battle reports, it's because he's busy doing painting tutorials.
Yeah, it's quick tips all day long. It takes up all the day.
Yeah.
And
It's actually a lot of work to go into one of those 10-minute videos.
yeah,
So that's
a lot of work.
Yeah, to kind of get that daily dose that you've been given for a long time now.
A long time.
You've been working here for a while, but quick tips. What do you think you've been doing? Like 2 years now?
Almost 2 years, or maybe over 2 years.
Yeah.
I want to say I didn't think we would be able to milk it this far, and
I know, it just keeps going.
yeah, it's because it's viewer feedback, right? So every time somebody's got something new to ask, and it just keeps quick tips going, and so it's good.
Well, things evolve too. Like, you've probably covered the same subject more than once in slightly different ways, but
Yeah.
people like to see specifics.
Yeah.
Like
I try to show, like, I get one question and then I'll show it like as many times as I possibly can, with time restraints, whatever. But
Well, I always laughed at it because I still remember that one question, and it was serious, where we had done, I don't remember who did it, if you did it or somebody else did it, the painting tutorial on the Terminator. And you remember the question that was on there? Yes, but how do you paint a librarian Terminator?
yeah,
And of course, yeah, it's a different model.
different model.
And some people, you teach techniques. I think that's kind of the mentality. It's like you can teach techniques or you can teach specifics, and you got to do both, really.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
I think that's where the quick tips come in.
It's all encompassing.
Yes, exactly. All right. Flugelos, or Flugelos. Hey, Kris, your Eldar army is awesome, and I like your old Chinese Zen master attitude. So my question is, if we can see you in your Eldar more often in battle reports. Greetings from Germany. Didn't we just go over this, Flugellos?
Yeah, the Apocalypse game. You'll see all my flyers, and I just, John had to restrain me from tabling Randy right away because turn one. Because I said, all right, fine.
It's like, don't kill everything.
Yeah, just don't kill everything.
Just forget to fire this.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see how many more questions we get asked me to be in battle reports. Teldonator. Hey, Kris, could you show us your best impression of the Swedish Chef from the Muppets?
Who's she? Do. Is she you take the bush, and then you take the voodoo, and then you beat the voodoo, and then you see, and then you got the voodoo. Who's these?
Is this something that happens regularly on your way?
No, I.
Where is that from?
I don't know.
Like, I get this from the Muppets.
That's
but
right.
He's got to be a reason that he has to do Muppets impressions.
I've done impressions on my show, and I might have done a Swedish Chef at one point.
Okay.
But now doing a quick tip in the Swedish Chef
No,
voice.
we need a week of quick tips from the Swedish Chef.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
It just the hands are just kind of flapping out.
I'm serious.
Yeah. Then we take the bush, and then we take the red, my first in red, and then we make the bean green, and then the who.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm exhausted already from that.
I want 5 2 or 3 minute quick tips by the Swedish Chef.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I want by next week.
Sure.
You could totally do it like today.
Oh, yeah.
You could probably pop all 5 of those out today.
I'd make a mess.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's
Yeah.
do it. A little bit.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious though.
Oh, okay.
Like, I'm not just saying I'm serious. Like, I'm serious.
You're serious?
I am serious.
Okay.
They'll go out for free.
Okay.
And just to show off how awesome a painter you are. People are like, why would I join the vault?
Why am I joining the vault?
All right. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
I got it.
I'm totally serious.
Yep.
If you guys, you could start bugging him. Kris at miniwargaming.com. If you don't see Swedish Chef quick tips within 2 or 3 weeks, because it takes time to publish,
Yeah.
then you can start emailing him every day, multiple times a day, saying, where are my Swedish Chef quick tips? You have my permission. Jubble. Not that you need my permission.
Yeah.
I'm just saying to do it. Please do it. Jubal, or J-Ubble. Kris, I have recently started using an airbrush. There are some decent tutorial videos around, including yours, but none seem to be able to help me with the basic problems I'm having. Please help. I'm using a decent airbrush with Vallejo air paint, but I have trouble getting a fine line without splatter, and particularly find that the paint dries very quickly. So much so that if I don't thin it and get painting really quickly, the whole thing clogs up and I need to strip it down and give it a thorough cleaning. I end up spending 2 hours to get 20 minutes of painting time. So, for fine lines, high pressure or low, very thin paint or not, and what to do to avoid watching paint dry.
Well, if you're going to be doing fine lines and stuff like that, you got to take the paint down very thin. Vallejo, even though it is, or Vallejo Air is a very thin paint, you still have to thin it down just a little bit, almost like not quite a 1-to-1, and then you got to take the pressure down at least to like 15 psi. Any lower than that, it's a little too low. But you want somewhere around that 15 to 20 psi to do really fine lines. But it all depends on what kind of airbrush you're using as well, because some airbrushes, they don't handle doing fine lines. Like, for example, I use a Patriot 105, and that's more of a utilitarian type airbrush to do base coating and initial highlights and stuff like that. But to get in really, really close and to try and do fine stuff, it doesn't quite work. You need a precision airbrush for those kinds of jobs. If you're going to draw like lines, or you're going to get into really fine nooks and crannies on the model. As far as like paint drying, you also have to be mindful of your distance again, because as you work closer to the model, you have to turn that PSI down. So the closer you're getting in to draw fine lines and get into the little nooks and crannies, the PSI has to come down, and then also the paint has to get thinner a little bit. It takes a little bit longer to get some stuff happening, but you still have to thin it out. The paint drying on the tip of the needle, that's unavoidable. That's just that's part of the game. It's after like for so long, and also whenever you start your airbrush, after you thin your paint, it's best to keep the air flowing, but not releasing the hammer and letting paint flow. So you're always best just kind of always have your air flowing. If you're stopping, turn the model, examine what you've done, then come back to it, and then, and of course, whenever you start with airflow and paint, you're best not to have the brush right at the point, because then you do get those splatters. Sometimes the paint builds up, and it builds up right at the end of the needle where the needle falls into the nozzle, and that paint can accumulate there, and it's still wet. And then as soon as you release the air or start the airflow, it's just like a bubble, and it goes poof, and it just shoots out. And that's what's happening when you get that kind of thing happening.
Great. I hope that was useful, Jubble or Jubal, J-Ubble, or J-U-Bull, however you say it. Fluff matters. Hey, Kris, what is your most and least favorite paint color to work with, and why?
Least favorite?
Then most and least.
Most, I love Mephiston red. It's just one of my favorite colors. This is a nice, deep, saturated kind of red. It's not like a pure, vibrant red, like fire engine red or anything like that. It's just kind of this deep, dark kind of red color. Almost blood. But anyway. Least favorite? I don't have a least favorite.
What about like maybe not a specific color as in, Mephiston red, but maybe like you find that yellow is harder to paint, or green is harder to paint in general, or blue is harder to paint. Is there one of those colors? White, black, gray?
Well,
that's the most challenging.
I find whenever you're working with yellow really thinned and you're working on top of blacks, you always end up heading into the green spectrum. And so it's always kind of tricky to build up an appropriate layer so that you can have yellow sitting on top of black. And Averland Sunset from Citadel does that job really, really well, sitting right on top of black. And that's another reason why I like Mephiston red, because it's also a base color and it's got this really rich pigment to it, and it sits on top of black. And if anybody's ever seen like Owen's paint jobs where he just paints his model black, dry brushes it with Mephiston red, and he's already got like a finished model, and it's so handy. But yeah, yellow, most of the yellows are kind of tricky. Citadel has some really good yellows. Vallejo, they tend to be really kind of thin, and you tend to get a lot of undercolor penetrating through it, and so you have to put many layers down to get a nice solid base. Where Citadel, it's actually pretty darn good. Black and yellow are really good from Citadel as far as coverage goes, and color transference. But yeah, no least favorite colors.
Not anymore. Now that you know what you're doing, you kind of know where to look for.
Yeah, because
you want to do yellow, you know where to go. You want to do green, you know where to go.
Yeah, because like a lot of people, they have trouble with the white, they have trouble with the yellow, they have trouble with red, and what's another one? Black, I think, is another color that a lot of people have.
It's hard to paint black because it just doesn't. If you paint it black, it doesn't look done. So you actually have to not paint it black to paint it black.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I don't even paint a lot, and I know that. So
and white's the same way. White and black are the same way. Because white's really, really bright, so you got to shade it down just a little bit.
Or gray. If you get the wrong gray, it looks like you haven't done anything.
Yeah.
I've seen armies where look I painted it gray, and I'm like, it looks like you didn't.
Yeah.
Because it looks like the same color as a sprue.
Yeah.
So even though that color is perfectly legitimate to be used on a model, you almost don't want to use it because everybody's got the association with unpainted model with that now. So James R. 1990. I wonder how old he is. Kris, how do you manage to bear the burden of working with mere mortals?
I take it day by day. I get out of bed, try and, remain humble, and come to work, and I don't know.
I saw you reaching there.
I was like,
what else do I pull out for this?
Yeah, I mean, I could have went totally egotistical then, but I mean, they could have went both ways on that one.
Well, okay, now we do have a really important question here from Gersh, or it might be G. Ersh. Kris, and I want you to think about this before you answer it.
Okay.
If I don't tuck my shirt into my pants, does that mean I am tucking my pants into my shirt?
No.
You sure? Because look. I didn't tuck my shirt into my pants today. So are my pants tucked into my shirt?
But did you put your shirt on first or your pants?
My pants.
Right. Most people put on their pants and then they put their shirt on. But the act of tucking, like tucking your shirt into your pants, that's you know what I mean? You're scooching your shirt into your belt line, right?
So if you put your shirt on first and you put your pants on second, then you are tucking your pants into your shirt?
Yeah, because you're deliberately unfurling your shirt, right?
So there is no perfect answer to this question.
I would say no. You're not tucking your pants into
But
your
you
shirt.
just said that if we put the shirt on first, then you actively are on.
Well, because tucking, like, when you scoot your shirt into your belt line, that's tucking. That's the act of tucking. So
it doesn't count when you're pulling your pants up underneath your shirt. That's
Right.
not. That's like tucking your pants up into your shirt.
right.
Are you sure?
No.
You're confident of this.
Mostly confident.
If we were
yeah.
to look on the dictionary definition of tuck, you're confident that would validate you. We have a computer right here for very purposes such as this.
Google it. No, I don't know. That's craziness. It's like chicken and egg stuff.
Well, no, that's an obvious answer to that question, but it doesn't matter.
No, I would say you're not tucking because when you're putting your shirt into your pants, you're tucking, right? Even if you put your shirt on first and you pull your pants up.
Yeah. What if you pull your pants over your shirt? Are you tucking your shirt into your pants?
Yeah, 'cause
or
you
are
still have to-
tucking your
you-
pants over your shirt.
You still have to scooch everything around.
Well, what if you're really good at it? What if you have really loose pants? And so you're able to just pull up the pants over top of your shirt and then you put a belt on. Was any tucking done?
Yes.
Just trying to get a good answer for you, Gersh. I'm on your side here. Ragnall. Kris, twist some arms. Can you get the painting tutorials organized by something other than time? I know, right?
I know
Right?
because it's mine.
It's
mine.
totally his fault.
The website and everything like that, the servers, that's
He
all
does it
within,
all.
that's all under my control.
You not know he's our web developer?
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy that I hired, he's for show. He's actually doing the quick
He's
stuff.
eye candy.
I'll answer this one, and the answer is yes. We are working on redesigning the website. It's going to take months to do everything we want to do, but definitely on the list is reorganizing our content in general, but specifically quick tips. Quick tips are one of the few types of videos that actually are mostly evergreen.
Yeah.
Battle reports, and narrative campaigns, I guess, are longer living as well. Even if there's
Depends on how story driven they were.
Yeah, well, yeah, the typical narrative campaigns.
Yeah.
Even if you get a new codex, the story is still there, and you can watch them for that sake. But battle reports, I find after a few months, they're kind of, people learn better tactics.
Yeah, there's a
Books that
shelf
come
life to
out.
them.
Yeah, but quick tips, on the other hand, and I guess in like the life of wargamers and short films like
Yeah.
that, they have a longer shelf life.
Yep.
So that kind of stuff, and there's hundreds of quick tips, hundreds of them. But we do need a better system. So we do have some ideas in place for that. And so that we are going to be working on that, I promise. Because it's something we've needed to do for a while.
It should be just like from Hitchhikers. The big computer sits there and you ask the computer.
Yeah,
Deep Blue.
that would be Google. Yeah.
No, but just quick tips though.
Well,
Show
I'm
me
thinking
a
of-
quick tip on
We,
painting black.
we currently do have a half decent system, and most people I don't think know it, and it's the tag system.
Yeah.
Now the problem with the tag system is that the tag system, the way it works is you go into this big tag cloud and you can just click on quick tips specifically, and then you'll see all the keywords related to it, and it's all alphabetical. So even though it looks like this big wall of text, it actually isn't hard to find what you're looking for. So if you're looking for Space Marines or you're looking for red or whatever, the thing with the tag system, then that might be the way that we do it, is we need to go back to all the quick tips and add more tags. You have to think of all the things that people would be looking for.
Right.
And that can be tough because what you think a quick tip is about might actually shed light on something else. Like you might be painting how to paint a power weapon, but you specifically are doing it on a Space Marine. Mm-hmm. And so you might not think I'm painting a Space Marine, you think I'm just painting a power weapon. Or you might just be painting lightning effects on a weapon, but really you're painting a power weapon on a Space Marine who's also a librarian. Like you can go too far.
Yeah.
And have so many tags that it becomes impossible to find what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And you can have too few and not be able to find the video that you're looking for. So there's some sort of sweet spot in there that we have to find. And then improve our tag system so that it's much more navigable. So that's one of the ideas. Doing it by category is tough because you have to manually update that with each quick tip. But yeah, do it.
It's tough. I mean, I'm
always
glad it's not my job.
Yeah, we could always do now that we've got so many that we can go back and make a bunch of different playlists.
Yeah.
So, but yes, we're going to work on that. I promise. Fantaz Eric. Do you recognize any of these usernames from your Way of the Brush, by the way?
No.
So far, I know we've only done 7 questions.
No, because I think a lot of people, because on Way of the Brush, it's their YouTube login.
That's
And so,
true. That's true.
You know.
Fantaz Eric. Oh, Kris! Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. I love Way of the Brush,
Oh, there we go.
so thanks a lot. I only spell a lot with one word, though. So Could you please tell me about how you began painting, for how long you've been painting, and how you became so good, in all caps? A Norwegian fan, Eric, a.k.a. Eric Skoins.
Oh, Eric's Coins. Yeah, okay.
Oh, Eric's Coins.
Yeah, Eric's
I actually saw it as Eric Skoins,
Scoins?
but it's Eric Skoins.
I might use that anyway, just to bug him.
Eric Skoins.
Eric's Coins.
Mr. Skoins.
Yeah.
Just call him Sir Skoins.
Sir Scoins. Scoins,
So,
Scoins.
how you began painting, how long you've been painting, and how you became so good. And every time you say good, you have to say it as in all caps.
Well, okay. In the beginning, the earth cooled. It was around 88. Yeah,
I was 7.
Yeah, it was around 88. And I was still a young fellow, too. And I was. I was 88. I was only, I was 13. I was only 13. Mind you, I was getting into my teens and he's still, running around. But anyway.
Keep going.
Love movies. Aliens, Predator, Terminator, RoboCop, all these action movies and stuff like that. So I really love sci-fi stuff. Aliens is like one of my favorite movies of all time. And my cousins were playing a tabletop game, and like they had the terrain all set up, and they were like they had ruined buildings, and I was like, it was like a diorama, but they were rolling dice, and they were, I got you over here, and I rolled this much damage, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. What is this thing? And of course, then they kicked me out because they were much older than me, and I was just like a little punk at the time, and so they got rid of me. And I went.
What game was that?
It was Warhammer 40K.
It was 40K.
Yeah, they were playing like Rogue Trader, because Rogue Trader came out 87, I believe, and so like they were just they're big nerds in D&D and everything like that. And I ventured into this hobby store, and I seen the big copy of Space Hulk, the first edition of Space Hulk, and I just immediately I fell in love with the imagery within Space Hulk, because it was Marines in hallways with aliens coming at them, and it was aliens.
Totally, it was just aliens.
It's aliens, yeah. And Space Hulk is just aliens, other than Marines in big suits and stuff like that, right? And so I'm flipping the box over, examine it, and of course, like at the time, I think it was still pretty pricey. I think it was like $60-$70, and I begged my mother to buy this for me. She finally bought it for me, and of course, I opened it up, and all the models, they don't quite look the way. And they say, oh, you got to paint them. I said, oh, well, now I got to get all these paints and everything like that. So, okay, so now I got to get all these paints. And when I started getting into this hobby, I was buying paints from like Ralph Partha. I was using Testors enamels. I was using some Citadel paints. Just cheap
Did it come
hobby
with the
stuff.
paint?
No.
A lot of those kits before would come with those like 6.
Oh, the little like paint by number sets.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was before that. Like the little paint by number sets, even
And
with
now
a
it's
paintbrush.
after.
Yeah, and I mean, paintbrushes I was using like those really awful Testors brushes. They're just like the white plastic with the stiff black bristles in them. I was using those to paint. I'd use everything, like try and get some sort of details onto the model. I would actually use like nail heads and thumbtacks and stuff like that. Try and do like fine dots and things. And of course, I didn't even know about priming a model, and like all these things like that. Now we can just Google it. I mean, anybody.
Those were probably all metal models back then, weren't they?
No, they were all plastic. They were
actually plastic.
Yeah, the Space Hulk Terminators were all plastic, and the Gene Stealers from Space Hulk, they stood the test of time until they redid the box. Like what it was a few years ago, and I mean those old Gene Stealers where it was just like the one set of arms and they all that model is probably one of the longest. Yeah, it's probably one of the longer running.
It needs an update. Thankfully, the Broodlord at least got an update in the one box.
Yeah,
because it looks a lot better, but.
Yeah, and so then it just blossomed from there, and then I discovered Warhammer 40,000, started buying more models, started buying models from armies from all places. Then everything kind of focused more into Games Workshop-centric type of stuff. I wasn't, purchasing like Ralph Partha models or anything like that, which was like a lot of D&D and stuff. Dragons and wizards, and I was just buying anything and everything. And but yeah, it was about 88. Discovered Space Hulk, then 40K. And the addiction started, right from there. I've had a drawing background, an art background for a long time, ever since I was a little fella, love to draw and superheroes and X-Men comics, stuff like that. Love them. But yeah, that's about the genesis of it. What was the second part?
How did you become so good?
Oh, so good? Well, being good requires lots and lots of practice.
People always want to skip that step.
Yes, and that's a symptom of the 21st century, because we have this instant gratification of simply just, I have a question. Oh, okay, and I can find the answer really right away. Versus when I was doing this, like the internet was not prevalent as it is today, and information was scarce, and I had to scrounge from whatever white dwarfs I could get, or whatever painting guides I could find, and there was no websites to go. There's no huge amounts of research. There was no mini wargaming where I could just go to the vault and buy a subscription and have all this painting knowledge in front of me. I mean, if I had that access,
that speeds things up.
Yeah, like I probably would have been a lot better, a lot quicker. And who knows where I'd be today? Maybe I'd be tired of it, or maybe, I don't know. Who knows?
So practice.
Who knows? Practice.
I wasn't expecting that answer.
I know.
Who knew that practice made you better?
Practice. And then when you're done practicing, you practice some more.
Yeah. Basically and like my rule of thumb when I used to paint was you never repaint a model. Mm-hmm. Because I remember I would paint and then I'd be wanting to redo it, because by the time I finished that group of guys, I'd already be better. Not that I got very good, but I get better. And I'd be like, ooh, these look awful, I want to redo them. I'm like, no. Now, okay, mind you, if you can't afford to buy the new models, then sure, if you want to strip them and redo them. But you get new ones, because you always want to add to your collection, and you're always going to find that the stuff that you did a year ago is not as good as what you can do now, if you're practicing, of course. Yeah. Now I think I've probably gotten worse because I haven't painted for like 2 years, at least.
You gotta...
Wait, I painted those flags for Wars on Apothis.
Oh, yeah. That was a while ago.
Yeah. The last time.
And you were really happy with your work with that too.
I was like, yay! I painted the flags. Actually, it was really annoying because there's all these little flags, and I tried spraying them, and then all just stuck to the cardboard that they were so on top of. Yeah, that's.
But he was happy though. He was showing everybody. So look at all these little flags.
I made these flags. That's right. Don't say I haven't painted anything. Actually, I don't care. It's just not part of the hobby I enjoy. Dwill 1282. I actually splurged and bought 2 Harris Armies recently. Ooh. Oh, Harris. Heresy. Sorry.
Heresy.
I actually said heresy. I said Harris. It wasn't him, it was me. I apologize, Dwill. Or unless it's D-Will. It might be D-Will.
D-Will?
1282. I wonder what the 1282 means.
There's...
82 might be when he was born.
Sure.
12, maybe he was born in December of 82.
Yeah. Could be.
When they are all painted up, I'll bring them both to play. Oh, there wasn't a question. All that build-up, Dwill. All that build-up. Let's call you D. D. God, you're... Kris, about the mini wargaming calendar. I don't know if you've heard about this obsession with our viewers have with the idea of
I remember this a while ago. Yeah.
Are you planning on doing any fancy art for it, or to be in a Speedo like Steve?
Oh, fancy art and a Speedo.
Fancy art on
I actually went to an art show a few weeks back.
Does this involve Speedos?
No.
Okay,
but
good. Continue.
There was an artist there, and I almost did it right away, and I'm probably still going to give this guy a call because he's doing breast cancer awareness, and he's doing fundraising, right? And basically he's taking pictures of guys in pink bras. And I almost snapped it up right away because I figured the internet would probably just love a shot of me in a pink bra. And so, Speedos, yes. Artwork, yes. Mm-hmm. In fact, everything in front of a green screen. Lens flare,
And bois.
And bois.
Somehow that calendar will have a bois. And
lots of lens flare.
And lens flares.
Lots of lens flare.
Okay. Wannabe Jedi. Hey, Kris, some personal questions, because everyone's asking about painting.
Oh.
You ready?
Oh, here we go.
1, favorite food.
Favorite food, man. Whatever goes down quickly.
If it can fit in here, it's my favorite.
Although, okay, one of my favorites is calzones, and the wife, she makes small ones and just for dipping, and it's like just It's just like a single shot. Yeah, it's like a whole pizza in a shot, and it's marvelous.
Sounds like what something Willy Wonka would make.
Yeah, it's great.
It's one bite, you got your whole pizza.
Yeah, it's one bite, and you got your whole pizza.
Are they like pierogies, but pizza pierogies kind of like?
No,
Is that what they kind of look like?
It's
The
like
calzone just looks like a big pierogi.
Well, calzone basically is a pizza, and you fold it over.
Yeah, and then it looks like a pierogi. Which are really
Sure.
gross, by the way. I don't like pierogies.
You don't like pierogies? Pierogies, oh man.
I don't like.
Bacon, sour cream, onions,
I like bacon. I like sour cream and onions.
and you mix that all with the pierogies. No,
This is not about me though. So favorite food is little miniature calzones that the wife makes, as he calls her. The wife.
the wife. Yeah.
You mean specific?
Well, I
in
could
case
have
they
said
think that you have more than one. It's the,
I could've
not
said-
one of the.
Well, I could have said
or
the old lady.
Okay, well,
My old lady cooks. I was trying to remain tactful.
congratulations.
But yeah, as far as favorite foods, calzones, pastas. I mean, you don't
You don't
you don't build up this sort of girth
by not liking food, right?
by not liking food, by not enjoying food.
Yeah, that's true. 2. What is your all-time favorite movie?
All-time favorite movie, Aliens.
Really?
Yeah.
All time.
All time?
Like nothing's come out
Ooh,
since.
man.
Like obviously better movies have come out since
Yeah.
because it's all like perspective for its time. But it's
Yeah.
nothing even in the inflation of how good things have gotten is not better
Yeah,
than
because
Aliens.
a top 10 would be easier than an all-time
Top
favorite.
3. I don't think we have time for
Oh,
that.
top 3.
Aliens, obviously. You said
Aliens, Empire Strikes Back.
Empire Strikes Back out of the
yeah.
3. Okay.
And man, sorry, that was me.
Silencing my phone.
Yeah, oh, of course, I'm silencing my phone now. And Pulp Fiction would probably be my next third.
Okay. Now let's do the same thing. All-time favorite music.
All-time favorite music, man. I can flip between heavy metal. Heavy metal being Slayer, Metallica, Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden. Actually, I can listen to Iron Maiden all day long, every
I probably
day.
listened to Iron Maiden growing up.
It's good. It's classic. Iron Maiden is like probably one of the most popular hard rock, heavy metal acts on the planet. Because their music is just it's so good. It's because
Maybe it is, but the problem is he blared it really loud all the time, and he was in the room right next to mine, and so I just grew to not like it.
Right,
So I'm not even sure. Like if I might even like some of the songs for all I know.
you might.
But it's like one of those like Pablo's dogs
Yeah,
responses. Now it's like
yeah. Because I mean, like Bruce Dickinson. I mean, like he's a fantastic singer, and it's very rare within heavy metal that you get really really good singers. But back to it, heavy metal is probably like a good, I'd say 75 to 80% of what I listen to, and then everything else falls into. I listen to a lot of Motown, industrial stuff, some Johnny Cash.
you really never know what's going to be coming out of his room
Yeah,
when you walk by. And it's like one moment it's like, what on earth is that? And the next moment it's like half decent music. And it's just like this weird mix.
Yeah.
You just like a bit of everything.
yeah. My favorite.
Your playlist like goes back from like
It's very eclectic. Yes.
yeah. It's just
But I still consider myself more of a metalhead than anything, but I do venture all over the place, and yeah.
One more for this guy. I see comments where Tay Monkeys, actually says Tay,
Tay.
want you doing bat reps. Well, that would be great. I'd hate to see less quick tips. Those help me a lot. So there's a choice. I'd rather have quick tips than mustache bat reps.
Yeah, and that's kind of what the decision, Because I remember there was a point where I was going to be doing more bat reps, but then we never got into it, and
We got enough bat rep producers.
Yeah, and once quick tips started, I mean that pretty much kept me busy all the time anyway, and.
Only proved to be such a success.
And yeah, everybody likes them. They're nice bite-sized type of chunks of information, a video, and get something out of it. And yeah. I mean, soon enough, whenever I can't produce another quick tip, that's probably all my brain power in the computer, and in fact, will probably be my essence in the computer.
Then you can die in peace because your artificial intelligence lives on.
Yeah, exactly. And it'll be just my face on the website in the vault. It'll be, what do you want to know?
Ask me a question. I probably already answered it. So why don't you look it up in our awesomely well-organized quick tips.
Listen up, dum-dums.
Naglaref. Kris, what have you?
What have I? What have you? Naglaref. He's
Is he one of your regulars?
Yeah, he's a longtime vault member, and yeah. What have I? What have I? What have you?
No, it's not asking me. He's asking you.
No, he's commenting that I say that a lot. What have you?
What have you?
Yeah. Because I would say, like, and then you have this and that, and then it goes into this, and so, whatever, what have you, and, yeah. What is that called? The things that you...
Idiosyncrasy?
Idiosyncrasies?
Idiosyncrasy, I think is that?
Yeah.
I always think
Like when you say a lot.
I always feel that I'm saying
like
that word wrong, idiosyncrasy, but
yeah.
I think that's what it is.
I think that's what it is.
It's your ism.
Isms?
You just want to kind of shorten it to your ism.
Your ism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Leland is golden. It's golden.
It's golden.
Yeah, I know, right? He doesn't say that in the normal conversation. You stick him on camera and all of a sudden he can't stop saying it.
It's like he's trying to make some sort of catchphrase.
It's golden! Right, Leland?
Ironically, I haven't said it that much since the sit and talk.
he's carrying himself a bit.
Yeah.
Gimpnax.
Gimpnax.
Yeah, of course.
Nice.
Kris. Pigmentomancer. I know what he's trying to say. You're a pigmentomancer. Like a mancer of the pigments.
Okay.
What was your least favorite model to paint? And then, of course, to make the question more interesting, what was your favorite model to paint? People seem to like these superlatives.
Yeah. In like the last little bit for like the tutorials and stuff like that, least favorite to paint. That's hard because like when you really are struggling with a model, it's really you're struggling with what you want to do, and it's not like the model was sculpted in any kind of fashion that you couldn't work on it. It's really what little problems that the model is presenting that you're just having trouble solving, and then sometimes you got to put those things away and not look at them for a while. Like I just recently did the Celestin Prime for Age of Sigmar and Nagash. They both were kind of similar type models because I had to leave them in parts to work on them and then reassemble them all. And they're both models that were fairly big, and I wanted to do more. And so any model that always kind of makes me want to do more, it kind of just like I start to kind of just not like anymore, and I just want to put it away and just say it's done.
It never feels finished.
Yeah, and I just put it away. A favorite model, that's another tough one because I had recently done a while back I had done a true scale or art scale Space Marine, and that was a lot of fun. I painted him, and it was a very simple kind of paint job on him. It's nothing complex going on with him. But another one was recently I did a little bust of a gargoyle, and I just painted that just simply for me. I didn't video it. I didn't do anything. I just was just kind of just letting my imagination play, and I was very pleased with the outcome of that model. And the little gargoyle is from Savage Forge Mini, and he's got this little bust, and we had gotten a whole bunch of them when he was still partnered with Ichiban and all that. And it was just sitting on the shelf for a long time, and I'll get this guy done. I did him up real quick, and it was an exercise. I told myself it was an exercise in painting flesh, and kind of just trying to keep things challenging. But yeah, as far as models, I don't think there's anything out there. I mean, like I see so many fantastic models out there, and really it is just when you start disliking a model, it's because it's presenting you with a challenge that you at the present time just don't have the answer for. And so sometimes you have to like put that model away, stew on it for a bit, and then come back to it and try and solve whatever problem was occurring with that model. Sometimes it's the way colors balancing, and sometimes it's detail, sometimes it's an effect, sometimes you want to go for something different, and there's many variables on a model that especially if you're really kind of artsy in that regard, that you want to really kind of present something really special to people.
Fair enough. I know it's funny because there are so many good models out there, but like you said, the more complex ones, it feels like you have to give them the due diligence to make it worth the sculpts that they are too. Like when you're painting termagants, it's like whatever. You can put a lot of detail in it, but there's a certain point you reach with a termagant where it's like, okay, there's really nothing else I can do to this. It'll start to look messy if I do any more.
Yeah.
So you get something like that. I remember seeing the Salson Prime or Nagash, and it's just like, where would you finish? Like you can always add more because it's so much to look at, and it's such a big model. And
yeah, so, Nagash was a tough one.
Yeah, but it begs for it.
Yeah.
It begs for a good paint job. You can't, you can, but you can't speed paint something like that.
No, and I mean, and in my case, because I'm filming it all, and it has to be done in a timely fashion so that videos can be produced. I mean, like if I would have put the time in, there'd probably been a span of weeks where there'd been no videos from me, and it'd be like, what's going on here? Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's an interesting kind of challenge that we work with making videos. Like people experience the hobby way differently than we do.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the restraint of getting X number of videos done per week, and so they get a model that can take as little or as long as they want to paint it. Whereas for you, the trick is, how do I make a video, paint this well enough to impress, but not too long that I get nothing else done.
Yeah, exactly.
So that provides some of the interesting challenges there. Reziel, Kris, long time no speak. Sorry, I've been so far behind on Way of the Brush. I'll get back there eventually when work allows. Question time. I am constantly fighting painter's block, so to speak. I have so many projects and so little time, it seems. I have enough skill to do what I want, but I can't build up the enthusiasm. Can you help me? I'm sure you've spoken about this before many times, but just hearing your pro radio quality voice telling me once again would be amazing. Thanks.
Fighting burnout.
Essentially what it is burnout, right?
Yeah. And I mean, like myself, I've been fighting it for a while. And it's always just looking for new challenges, looking for new ways to do something. It's like when people ask me, 100 times, how do you paint yellow? How do you paint black? How do you highlight black? How do you, do red? And I always look for a new way to answer that question, be it, a different technique or different colors, different brand, different, some different way of answering it than, always kind of coming back to it, but like, just answering it the same way. And when you are at a point where you just don't feel like picking up the paintbrush, then you don't bother picking it up, because, go do something else that inspires you. Go read a book, watch a movie, play with the kids, whatever you got to do to get your mental, energy back up there. And then come back and then sit down and go, okay, I feel good right now. Had a big meal. Everybody's happy. Family's happy. Everything's good. Sit down and I'm going to, assemble a tank. And then just start assembling a tank. Even if you don't get the tank assembled in that sitting, keep at it, right? And oftentimes, one of my favorite quotes, I'm pretty sure it's Picasso, is inspiration often finds us when we're working. And so, when you're waiting for that bolt of lightning to hit you and you're going to go sit down and paint a masterpiece, not going to happen. You got to be sitting at your desk, plugging away at it, doing something, fiddling, keeping your area tidy, whatever. But, and then, all of a sudden something will strike you. Oh, yeah, I can do this. And I can, maybe I'll try wet blending, or maybe I'll, practice my glazing, or, all these kinds of things. Oftentimes with burnout, it's also when you have a large collection of models and you see all these models and you're like, oh my God, I gotta paint all this crap. You take a break and paint something else. Go find another miniature or make a conversion of something that's completely outside of what you normally have. And it might not have any place in your collection other than, being something fun to do. And, in those regards. But otherwise, it is kind of tough. It varies person to person, and it's the easiest way I can simplify it is find new challenges for yourself. Find new challenges, and keep persevering through that, and just kind of keep trucking, just keep swimming, and just keep swimming, and keep swimming, and keep swimming.
And also remember too, this is a big thing because I get the same question for like the games and battle reports and all that. It's like it's a hobby, so take a break overall. Like if you're having a hard time wanting to paint, it's just not something that you're enjoying, then by all means stop. Because there's nobody, unless you're doing it as a commission painter or in like Chris's case, trying to get videos done where there's a work requirement for it, then it is something that you can enjoy. Now having said that, you don't want to leave it indefinitely because some of the most fulfilling things that you can do require you to kind of just get at it and work at it. We don't want to just take that stance with everything in life. If I don't feel like doing it, then I just won't do it. But that is something to think about too. I think the biggest thing for me, I remember, is when I would buy too many models. And so just put a bunch of them away. And then just make a rule for yourself that I can't pull any of them out or buy any more until I finish this. I always found it was useful to have two projects, one that I was currently painting, one that I was assembling. And so that I could kind of switch between the two.
Yep.
Because I really didn't like painting, so I had to find every reason to...
The one I used to do was do a troop, then do HQ. Do a vehicle,
do something
do a troop.
easy, do something hard, do something easy.
Yeah, and just kind of keep
Yeah.
going back and forth like that.
Well, we're out of time for our free portion of the show. Thank you very much for all your questions. And of course, Vault members, click the link below to go and watch the next 30 minutes. If you're not a Vault member, you can still click it, get a free 7-day trial, and help Kris to be paid.
It's like Space Invaders.
Yeah.
Watching the hands.
That's right, because you get access to hundreds of quick tips that this guy has made and will continue
Hundreds,
to make.
yeah. It's you. I mean, I've made the boast on Way the Brush many times that Mini Wargaming's Vault, I seriously doubt you will find any other repository on the internet as big as ours on the painting subject. As far as miniature painting is concerned, you're not going to find a bigger collection of painting videos. And I mean, it's not just me in there. I mean, we're talking Les from Awesome Paint Job.
Brush for Hire.
Yeah, Austin, Brush for Hire.
There's been others too, but it's been a while.
Yeah, I mean, Austin's, I mean, I still tell people about Austin's series in there. And if anybody asks me about like airbrushing questions, I always tell them to watch Austin's series on that because it was a really well constructed, informative series he did. And it's gold. It's one of those little...
Golden.
It's gold. It's gold.
So go ahead, click the link below. Thanks for watching. Happy wargaming.